Hello viewers and potential subscribers, you are watching UnknownEmerald, and in this video I'll be talking about what makes a good infection map, and the focus of this video will be map layout. I'll be using my Studio 17 map as the prime example, and we'll use other maps for comparison purposes, so let's get into it. I went ahead and removed all the rooftops on my map just to show you guys what it looks like from the bird's eye view, and the very first thing you'll notice is how broken up this map is. There are so many intersections to separate each one of the rooms and holdouts, and so many corridors to go between them, and I think it is a very important thing to have on an infection map is different intersections to separate different spawns and rooms on the map. So for example, let's take this Rooster Teeth podcast set room over here. Once a human picks their holdout location, you want them to have a limited amount of things as to what they can do in the specific area. For example, if I remain over here, all I can do is shoot across this broken bridge right there, turn to my right, defend myself from the infected that are breaching the doorway, or if I'm ultra brave, approach this bridge and shoot the zombies that are approaching me from that hallway right here. And we want to have as many areas like this on your map as possible. Once again, if humans trying to hold out in this section of the map, they are limited to shooting the zombies in front of them down this hallway, up the stairs, to the right up the stairs, or down this other section of the map, down this doorway right here. And there are other intersections like this on the map, and they are surrounding the entirety of Studio 17. For example, once again, this green screen room right here, going over here, this area right here, then you have Oscar's house, and then once again, going back around to the Rooster Teeth section room. So you have 5 major intersections on the map, and then you have this courtyard, and basically just the map itself is split up into so many different sections, which is where I think maps such as Nerve Center or the Crypt fail as infection maps, is because they are so open, and let's get into that a little bit. Nerve Center and the Crypt suffer from the exact same problem, and that is both maps having an extremely open area down the center of the map, which is a very unfair factor for the infected. As a human, you just need to get a precision weapon, get to the holdout location, and remain there for the duration of the round, and you'll be the safest human on the whole game. And that really doesn't help when all the humans think the same way and they all go to that one bridge on the Crypt and just remain there for the whole game. It makes a very unfair experience for the infected. Now let's face it, we've all been on the rounds where the infected just cannot do anything against the humans because there is so much firepower raining down on them from above, and the humans will always be victorious during every single one of the rounds. And the reason this is the case is because those maps do not have those intersections I mentioned before. The map has a very big open area, and yes, they do have those back areas where the infected have a very safe area to spawn in, but then again they have no way of actually getting closer to the humans once they leave those intersections, which is where those maps fail as infection maps in my opinion. Now that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have a big open area on your infection map, but you have to be very smart about it. For example, Studio 17, this very big open courtyard area, the reason why you never see people hold out over here is because there is this big intersection right behind them from the left and from the right over there, and people can very easily hold out over here if they're very smart about it, if there's enough people covering them, but it requires a lot more teamwork than, for example, sitting in the corner over here, which is what I'm saying once again. If you have an intersection like this, a zombie can spawn over here and just walk up the stairs and get someone from behind. It prevents people from camping in a very overpowered spot, but then again, if someone chooses to stay here for 30 seconds or so, they can get quite a few kills by risking their life and being in a very open area like this where they can get a lot of kills, but at the same time it's a very risky place to be at. And that pretty much covers the intersection part of this video. Now I want to talk about the holdouts for a little bit. Holdouts. Whilst making a holdout for an infection map, you always need to consider not only the human point of view but also the infected. What would an infected do if a human was sitting up here for the duration of the round? Okay, I'm a human, I spray down on the zombies that are approaching me from that angle, but there's very little I can do against the infected that are coming at me from the right hand side. If I'm infected, all I have to do is just come up here, clamber, thruster, stabilize, and kill the human like so. And if I'm a human, I might think, oh, I'm just gonna sit over here and prevent the infected from coming close from that angle, but once again I turned around and there's this big intersection behind me where the infected can spawn, and once again all they need to do is come around the corner and stabilize and kill me like so. And it's a very difficult thing to kind of predict. There will be a lot of tests for your map that will be able to determine whether the holdout is good or not, whether it's overpowered. And this map, you might not believe it, only had 2 tests, which is really stupid, but I'll get to that in a different video one day. And this is a different holdout, and the very cool thing about this one is that a human will be able to see a zombie thrusting from this section over here. A zombie thrusts, stabilize, tries to lunge at a human, but a human will be able to see them approaching from those railings right there. And then again, a zombie can just walk down the stairs, toop 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 toop, stabilize, and kill the human like so. So a lot of different things to consider whilst making the holdout. You need to always consider how a human will be able to survive and how an infected will be able to kill the human, which is why several maps in the playlist fail as infection maps, and there are so many overpowered spots for the humans to sit on, and so many times when they're dead rounds because the infected just cannot do anything. You always need to consider, like, okay, you're a professional player, let's say, or you're a noob. What would a noob do in an area like this? Not saying that everyone's a noob, like you're a noob or anything like that, but a less professional player would not be able to, for example, use a tactical jump. Let's say a good player would be able to like jump from over here very easily. Maybe not over here, this is a very bad example, but let's say someone was unable to jump from over here. Let's say that this was a thing, like you had to jump from this little thing right here, clamber on this, and then from that over there. That would be a tack jump, let's say. But you can't do that as a non-professional player. You want to be able to just do it easy like so, so that's why there are two crates right here to allow infected to be able to just jump like so. And once again, a lot of things to be able to consider whilst making an infection map. So there will be a lot of tests, a lot of tweaks and bits and bobs being changed around the map whilst you do those tests, and that pretty much covers the holdouts. I could have probably went into a lot more detail, but I just wanted to very briefly touch on the subject just so you guys get an idea of how an infection map should be laid out and why most maps in the infection playlist fail as infection maps. I didn't want to do like the top 5 worst infection maps or anything like that because, well, I could do that, but I would have to include probably like top 10 worst infection maps because all of them have things that fail as on infection maps, and there will be a lot of things I would change in them if I were to design them myself. But I'll be touching that subject on a different video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, as short as it was. I know I could have went into a lot more detail, but I'll be covering more on a different video. I'll be doing a different part of this. This one talked about the layout of the map, the holdouts, and I'll be also talking about gameplay. In the future, I'll be talking about aesthetics, the theme of the map, so look forward to those kind of videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time, so see you.